hour on VTV News. Vietnam celebrates Hùng King's Commemoration Day. And GDP in the first quarter up 6.9%, hits 5-year high. In our world news, over 50 countries seek U.S. trade talks after tariffs.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 3 p.m. local time and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyền Trân with the top stories. Today, April 7th, the 10th day of the third lunar month, is Vietnam's Hùng King's Commemoration Day. This national holiday honors the Hùng Kings, who are revered as the founders of Văn Lang State, the first Vietnamese state in history. State President Lương Cường and other high-ranking party and state officials attended a commemorative ceremony in Phú Thọ province. Representing Vietnamese both at home and abroad, the state leader offered incense and flowers to express deep gratitude to the Hùng Kings for founding the nation and to the ancestors who defended it. The Hùng Kings worship holds profound significance for the Vietnamese people and has been recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. And expanding on our holiday updates, tens of thousands gathered at the Hùng Kings Temple historical site in Phú Thọ province. Now, through generations, the Hùng Kings Commemoration Day has served as a powerful cultural and spiritual symbol for the Vietnamese people, honoring their national identity and reinforcing their collective sense of origin and unity.
In the early days of the third lunar month, the Hùng Kings Temple bustled with tens of thousands of Vietnamese citizens and overseas Vietnamese returning to their ancestral land.
I always get emotional every time I return to the Hùng Kings Temple. This is the land of our forefathers.
I'm pushing 70, but I still want to climb the steps to the Hùng Kings Temple and offer incense to our ancestors.
For the overseas Vietnamese community, the Hùng Kings Commemoration Day is a valuable opportunity for second and third generation overseas Vietnamese to better understand their roots, deepen their pride, nurture their love for the homeland, and strengthen national unity.
This shared origin has created a strong bond among Vietnamese students and young professionals abroad, particularly in the U.S. It fosters mutual support in education and life and helps spread the positive values of Vietnamese culture and character.
From solemn ceremonies held overseas to deeply emotional experience of standing on sacred ground and offering incense to their national forefather.
The return of overseas Vietnamese this year reinforces the vital role of the expatriate community, strengthening their connection to and faith in their cultural heritage.
In 2012, UNESCO officially recognized the worship of Hùng Kings as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. While many cultures practice ancestral worship, the unified national veneration of ancestors is a distinctly Vietnamese tradition. It represents the highest expression of Vietnam's respect for its heritage and serves as an enduring source of emotional strength in modern times.
A high-ranking Vietnamese government delegation led by Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính visited Laos on Monday to pay tribute to the late General Kham Thầy Siphavon, former chairman of the Lao People's Revolutionary Party and former president of Laos. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính conveyed the Vietnamese government and people's deepest condolences to the Lao party, government, people, and General Siphavon's family. In response, Lao leaders expressed their sincere gratitude to Vietnam, particularly for sending high-ranking delegations led by Party General Secretary Tô Lâm and Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính to pay their respects. They also appreciated Vietnam's decision to hold a state funeral for the late Lao leader. Now, in other news, Vietnam's National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn met with Inter-Parliamentary Union IPU Secretary General Martin Chung Gong at the IPU's 150th Assembly. At their meeting, National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn proposed that Vietnam and the IPU actively implement the IPU Action Strategy for 2022 to 2026. He also sought the IPU's support for Vietnam's efforts to promote and monitor sustainable development goals. The Vietnamese top legislator highlighted Vietnam's ongoing engagement in IPU activities, citing the successful hosting of the 132nd IPU Assembly in 2015 and the 9th Global Meeting of Young Parliamentarians in 2023. IPU Secretary General Chung Gong praised Vietnam's proposals for IPU initiatives and multilateral interparliamentary cooperation, expressing gratitude for Vietnam's willingness to host major IPU events in the future. Now, shifting to an economic focus, Vietnam's economy has shown strong growth in the first quarter of this year. The gross domestic product GDP is estimated to have increased by 6.93% compared to the same period last year. And this marks the highest first quarter growth rate recorded in the past 5 years, according to the latest data released by the General Statistics Office GSO on Monday morning. Retail sales of goods and consumer service revenue increased significantly by 9.9% in the first quarter compared to the previous year. And industrial production is estimated to be up by 7.8% year-on-year, also the highest first quarter increase in the last 5 years. Vietnam's trade balance in the first quarter recorded a surplus of $3.16 billion. The total export turnover of goods and registered foreign investment capital also saw a substantial rise. The global economy enters the second quarter amid heightened uncertainties in trade policies and tariffs, and this creates significant pressure on economic management and policy making to achieve growth targets. Experts suggest that flexible and appropriate policy adjustments are crucial to tapping into available growth opportunities.
In response to global trade fluctuations, businesses have swiftly adapted their strategies for the upcoming quarters.
Enterprises must stay alert to market movements, switch to alternative raw material sources, and explore new export opportunities in markets such as the EU and Japan.
As the second quarter begins, exports are expected to face direct challenges from tariff barriers and declining global demand. However, Vietnam still maintains several robust economic pillars with ample growth potential that will drive its economic expansion.
Vietnam also has some domestic resilience here. We're talking about, private consumption. Private consumption still has room to grow, and it really hasn't recovered as much as pre-pandemic trend would suggest. So that is one, and the other one is public investment.
Vietnam's institutional reforms, including a commitment to cut at least 30% of burdensome business regulations, are creating a more dynamic and robust economic environment. Businesses anticipate positive changes and favorable policies, especially through the upcoming Politburo proposal on private sector development. Vietnam has developed considerable expertise in responding to global economic fluctuations. While challenges persist, this environment presents an opportunity for Vietnam to boost its competitiveness, harness its domestic strengths, and work toward its ambitious 8% growth target.
Now, with inflation under control and sustainable export growth, Vietnam established a strong foundation for expanding domestic consumption and industrial production, leading to its highest first quarter GDP growth in 5 years. This performance maintains Vietnam's position as one of the fastest growing economies, both globally and regionally.
International arrivals to Vietnam increased nearly 30% year-on-year in the first quarter. This tourism recovery has contributed significantly to a 9.9% rise in retail sales and consumer service revenues. Upon arriving in Hanoi this afternoon, Swiss tourist Olga Pavlenko and her family went directly to a supermarket to purchase essentials.
Well placed, so I think this is the same standard as any Western country would be. So I really like it here.
We organize our products for easy access by foreign customers while ensuring we meet the needs of our local shoppers.
Both domestic and export markets showed strong growth, fueling a 7.8% year-on-year increase in industrial production during the first quarter, the highest first-quarter rise in 5 years. To boost business activity, the government implemented support measures, including tax cuts and reduced land rent.
Fixed costs have decreased due to tax relief, allowing enterprises to reinvest in business activities.
Total social investment rose 8.3% year-on-year, significantly higher than the same period last year. Registered foreign direct investment, FDI, surged by 34.7%, indicating international capital's strong confidence in Vietnam's economic prospects.
So obviously, the markets has reacted and external demand has slowed down. The immediate impact obviously has a very big impetus in how Vietnam's economy, being highly trade dependent, to be impacted in the long run.
With macroeconomic stability, controlled inflation, and solid economic fundamentals, Vietnam achieved positive first-quarter growth. The entire political system demonstrated strong determination and effectiveness in responding to rapid, unpredictable changes across the region and worldwide.
Coming up next on VTV News. Social media stars prosecuted for fraudulent product promotion. And later on, Vietnam welcomes historic number of foreign tourists in the first quarter. Welcome back to VTV News. Now, Phạm Quang Linh, known on social media as Quang Linh Vlogs, and Nguyễn Thị Thái Hằng, known as TikToker Hằng Du Mục, were prosecuted and temporarily detained along with 3 other defendants for the production and promotion of Kera candy. The prosecution has affirmed its strict handling of all false advertising and customer deception for personal gain. More details to follow.
Thủy Tiên, Quang Linh Vlog, and Hằng Du Mục have millions of followers on social media platforms. In today's digital age, many celebrities use live streaming to sell and advertise products. However, some accept payment from brands to make false claims about the products they promote.
This is a wake-up call for social media celebrities who promote products from manufacturers. Celebrities are required to carefully check the products before they advertise them.
Many celebrities have promoted products with false claims about their effectiveness, causing confusion and health risks for consumers, particularly with milk products for children and the elderly, as well as functional foods. While most cases have only resulted in administrative sanctions, this criminal prosecution demonstrates the Ministry of Public Security's stance that it's time for stricter enforcement against false advertising, especially when perpetrated by influential public figures.
We will fight fiercely against this type of crime, especially those who use cyberspace to promote and introduce poor-quality products. Investigating these subjects according to the law will ensure security in the community.
While this strict enforcement isn't meant to discourage individuals, it aims to set clear boundaries and strengthen discipline in the media landscape where trust depends on honesty and responsibility. The public must take a firm stand against celebrities who engage in unethical and illegal behavior.
Now moving on to a more uplifting story. Throughout his life, late President Ho Chi Minh consistently emphasized the importance of the younger generation. He once advised the task of the youth is not to ask what the country has done for them, but to ask themselves what they have done for the country. His words remain deeply instilled in generations of Vietnamese youth, inspiring them to continuously learn, grow, and contribute to national development.
After 9 years studying and conducting research in France, Nguyễn Viết Hương, PhD, returned to Vietnam to pursue research in nanomaterial technologies, despite facing challenges in infrastructure and human resources. His dedication to contributing to his homeland has helped him overcome significant barriers.
We now have much better conditions for development thanks to the party and state. As young people, we want to contribute to this great journey in any way we can.
Declining job offers from global tech giants such as Google and Amazon, Nguyễn Văn Sơn returned to Vietnam in 2022 to lead a domestic research team focused on autonomous artificial intelligence. Seeking to expand AI accessibility through data-driven techniques, he and his team have published over 10 international papers in just 2 years.
For me, following President Ho Chi Minh's moral example means daring to think, daring to act, and daring to confront challenges to bring technology into real life to solve practical problems. It also means sharing and inspiring future generations.
To produce meaningful research, young scientists must step out of their comfort zones. As President Ho Chi Minh once taught, do not fear hardship or difficulties. When faced with adversity, move forward. Young Vietnamese researchers are striving to master new technologies and develop homegrown innovations.
Inspired by Ho Chi Minh's moral example, young people must travel, explore, and learn. Our young scientists must achieve research breakthroughs that not only lead in Vietnam but also resonate globally.
The path of scientific pursuit is never easy. It demands perseverance through obstacles and failures. However, it is precisely Ho Chi Minh's spirit of dedication and resilience that motivates the new generation of talented Vietnamese scientists to continue contributing to the nation's advancement in the digital age.
Today marks the 25th anniversary of National Voluntary Blood Donation Day. And as of the beginning of 2025, nearly 22 million units of blood had been collected nationwide. Blood donation has evolved from a periodic movement to a regular activity across organizations and agencies throughout the country.
These blood donation certificates bring back unforgettable memories for Văn. At just 26 years old, he has donated blood over 10 times and platelets more than 20 times.
I learned about the blood donation movement in 2019. Over time, I grew to love donating blood and made it a regular part of my life.
Nhu has donated blood more than 20 times. Though afraid of needles, she knows her fear pales in comparison to patients fighting for their lives in hospital beds. This perspective has motivated her to overcome her fears to help others in need.
I've seen patients who need blood entering the hematology hospital. I've also witnessed child cancer patients who are in dire need of blood. I donate blood to help them have a chance to continue living.
When you donate blood, you understand how it will be used to help others. The ultimate goal is ensuring it reaches those in need.
These dedicated young donors will undoubtedly continue giving blood, motivated by their hope to save and enhance the lives of people in need.
Western regions experienced low traffic on the final day of the Home Kings Commemoration holiday. In Can Tho City, National Highway 1A, a key artery for travel towards Ho Chi Minh City and the southeastern provinces, recorded few vehicles. Typically, congested areas in Tiền Giang province, including the Cái Bè area, the Trung Lương intersection and the Dong Tâm intersection, remain clear of traffic jams. While the Dinh Khao ferry connecting Vĩnh Long and Bến Tre provinces saw occasional congestion, the overall traffic situation remained manageable. Vietnam's tourism sector has reached its highest ever number of international visitors in the first quarter of 2025, with over 6 million arrivals, according to the General Statistics Office, or GSO. The robust tourism performance has significantly contributed to the country's 6.93% GDP growth rate in the first quarter. China and South Korea were the leading sources of foreign visitors, together making up 47% of total arrivals. This record-breaking achievement stems from effective promotional campaigns by various ministries and sectors, along with relaxed visa policies for key potential markets. In March alone, Vietnam welcomed over 2 million international visitors. Coming up next on VTV News. Over 50 countries seek U.S. trade talks after tariffs. And delayed cherry blossoms draw tourists to Tokyo. Now on to our world news. More than 50 countries have directly contacted the White House to initiate trade talks following U.S. President Donald Trump's imposition of wide-ranging punitive tariffs, administration officials have said. The tariff policy announced by President Trump on April 2nd has received criticism from many major U.S. trading partners. The imposition of reciprocal tariffs ranging from 10 to 50% on imports from all countries and territories is expected to increase the risk of a global trade war. U.S. stock prices have dropped about 10% in the 2 days since Trump announced the reciprocal tariff plan. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that there was no reason to anticipate a recession based on the tariffs. French President Emmanuel Macron arrived in Egypt on Sunday for a 3-day official visit to discuss recent developments in Gaza and ties between Egypt and France. And this marks his 4th visit to Egypt since taking office. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi will officially receive Macron on Monday for talks. The two leaders will also witness the signing of economic agreements. The two leaders will then be joined by Jordan's King Abdullah II in a trilateral summit to address the ongoing war in Gaza. According to the Elysee Palace, the visit also aims to strengthen bilateral ties and build a strategic partnership between Egypt and France. Now, a ceremony was held on Sunday in Weymouth to mark the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Bunchen Ward. The commemoration began with speeches by Thuringia State Premier Mario Voigt and former German President Christian Wolff. Wolff warned about the dangers of radicalization amid the global rise of right-wing political forces. He called on the international community to strengthen its commitment to protecting humanity. Cherry blossoms in Tokyo typically bloomed in mid-March during the Hanami festival, when people gather with family and friends to enjoy the blossoms. This year, however, Tokyo residents and tourists had to wait longer to witness the flowers at their peak.
April 1st in Japan marks the start of a new school year. For many years, cherry blossoms in Tokyo have bloomed on this date, symbolizing a fresh beginning. However, this year's erratic weather patterns have delayed their blooming.
Last fall was warmer than usual, which delayed the blooming of the flowers. At the end of March, Tokyo was hit by a sudden cold snap, along with drizzle, which also caused the blooming time to become later than normal.
Unfortunately, it's not quite there yet. There's still some blossoms missing, but it's so beautiful, and yeah, I'm so lucky that I'm here exactly at this time of the year, because it was for work and it was just by chance, so I'm very lucky that I'm here now.
I have been to Japan 3 times and tried to get here during cherry blossom season. I was impressed by the many colorful varieties and the ancient cherry blossom trees.
According to Kansai University's estimates, this year's cherry blossom season could generate about $9.4 billion USD for the Japanese economy.
And as usual, let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.